Hi, my name is Rachel. Welcome back to my channel. So today I really wanted to go over the challenges for the Black Horror Reading Challenge 2025 edition created by Book Tribe with Ty on Instagram. I will link the post where she announced this challenge down below in the description. So I thought that it would be easier to make my full TBR for each month's prompt ahead of time. Last year I did the Buzzword Reading Challenge, which was created by Kayla from Books and Lala, and I waited to think of what book I was going to read until I was making my TBR for that month. And honestly, doing it that way, I felt like I was really scrambling to find something that fit for each prompt. So I took some time about a week ago and went through all of the prompts and spent an hour or two kind of just researching and looking online to find books that I thought could fit for all of these prompts. So I figured I would just share my entire TBR for the year for this challenge ahead of time, and then that way each month when I am making my monthly TBRs, I can just pull off of my already curated list of choices for this challenge. The January prompt was Haunted House or Spirits. In January, I read We Came to Welcome You by Vincent Torrado. This book is about a sapphic couple who move into a neighborhood with an HOA. And upon them moving in, the neighbors come knock on the door to welcome them to the neighborhood and to very heavily insist that they sign the HOA agreement. So we follow Sol as she is kind of gripping with the fact that her neighbors are definitely up to something and her wife Alice doesn't really believe her. Sol is also on a sabbatical, I think, from work because she was accused of plagiarism because a white man stole her work and somehow she got accused of plagiarism. It. And this one was really entertaining, honestly. I listened to it on audio. I thought that it was so eerie and it did a really great job of building tension, and there was a really nice buildup of the horror aspect. You don't just dive right in right away, even though you do start to get the vibe right away that something is off. So it was a really nicely done. I think I gave it a 4 stars. It was pretty good. I will say I do wish it was a little scarier, but other than that, I had a great time reading it. February's prompt is indie horror, and for this one I chose Nana by Brandon Massey. From what I understand, this is about a woman named Monica who never knew her birth mother and kind of was always longing to know more about her, and then one day this woman shows up, Grace, who claims to be Monica's birth mother. I think that she moves in with them in order to get to know the family, Monica and her husband, and I think she has children. And at first, Grace is super helpful and, does chores, helps with childcare, helps with after school care, stuff like that. And slowly but surely, Monica starts looking a little bit more tired, a little bit older, a little bit more ill, and then Grace, who insists on being called Nana, is starting to look a little more spry, a little less tired, getting some color back to her cheeks, and has a youthful glow that's slowly growing on her. And I believe that Monica's husband is kind of what the fuck is going on? And I think that he finds out that Grace is not who she says to be, and apparently there's a bunch of secrets and darkness in her past, and I'm really excited for this one. I have heard of this one before in the horror booktube sphere. I haven't heard a lot about it in mainstream booktube, but there's definitely people out there who love this book, and I have heard nothing but great things about Brandon Massey in general, and I'm definitely excited to try his work. So March's prompt is vampires, and I'm going to read Immortal Dark by, I believe it's pronounced Tegest Jirma. This one is described as The Cruel Prince meets Ninth House. I love Ninth House, but I've never read The Cruel Prince, so I'm interested to see how that comes into play. It began long before my time, but something has always hunted our family. Orphaned heiress, Kaiden Adane grew up far from the arcane society she was born into, where human bloodlines gain power through vampire companionship. When her sister June disappears, Kaiden is convinced a vampire stole her, the very vampire bound to their family, the cruel and captivating Susenyos Sagad. To find June, Kaiden must infiltrate the elite Uxley University, where students study to ensure peaceful coexistence between humans and vampires, and inherit their family legacies. Kaiden must survive living with Susenyos, even as he does everything he can to drive her away. It doesn't matter that Susenyos' wickedness speaks to Kaiden's own violent nature and tempts her to surrender to a life of darkness. She must find her sister and kill Susenyos at all costs. I think this sounds really intriguing. I love the idea of a society built on the fact that humans need vampire companionship to kind of thrive and have power. And I also love her kind of undercover expedition to this like other university that wants peace between vampires and humans, because I think the humans that coexist with the vampires, I'm assuming they're more of like an evil society, because it says arcane society, and I'm assuming because they're entwined with vampires that they use that power for evil. But this sounds really good, and I've never heard of this. I just honestly found this through searching and Googling, and it sounds really good. April's prompt is a backlist horror. The one that I picked for this is one that I have actually seen floating around occasionally on threads, and that is I Feed Her to the Beast and the Beast is Me by Jameson Shea. This is described as Ace of Spades meets House of Hollow in a villain origin story. I haven't read House of Hollow, but I love Ace of Spades. Which is actually by Faerie Amide, which I have her other book here. So this one is about Laure Mesny is a perfectionist with an axe to grind. Despite being constantly overlooked in the elite and cutthroat world of the Parisian ballet, she will do anything to prove that a black girl can take center stage. To level the playing field, Laure ventures deep into the depths of the catacombs and strikes a deal with a pulsating river of blood. The primordial power Laure gains promises influence and adoration, everything she's dreamed of and worked toward. With retribution on her mind, she surpasses her bitter and privileged peers, leaving broken bodies behind her on the climb to stardom. But even as undeniable as she is, Laure is not the only monster around her, and her vicious desires make her a perfect target for slaughter. As she descends into madness and the mystifying underworld beneath her, she is faced with the ultimate choice. Continue to break herself for scraps of validation, or succumb to the darkness that wants her exactly as she is, monstrous heart and all. That is, if the god killer doesn't catch her first. This is 2 years old and the sequel is already out, I believe. So I'm gonna just use this for backlist. I believe Ty said in her prompts that to aim for 3 years or older, but I mean, this is 2 years old, so I feel like that's old enough. If it just came out at the very end of 2024, I wouldn't consider that backlist, even though we're in the next year. But I'm excited for this one, and it's beautiful in a very eerie way. Like, it's stunning. It's whoever did the art did an amazing job, but it also freaks me out. The prompt for May is creepy cover. For this, I chose to read Hide and Seeker by Daka Herman. This cover literally gives me a sense of unease. It makes me want to not read this book in the dark. Like, just looking at the cover makes me a little bit scared of like the shadows, you know? I went up the hill. The hill was muddy, stomped my toe and made it bloody. Should I wash it? Justin knows that something is wrong with his best friend. Z went missing for a year, and when he came back, he was different. Nobody knows what happened to him. At Z's welcome home party, Justin and the neighborhood crew play hide and seek, but it goes wrong. Very wrong. One by one, everyone who plays the game disappears, pulled into a world of nightmares come to life. Justin and his friends realize this horrible place is where Z had been trapped. All they can do now is hide from the Seeker. The idea of hiding from this scary entity literally terrifies me. And the cover, I don't know, man. You know at night when you're like really tired and you're having trouble sleeping and the shadows start to look like people and you get that like your heart clench moment? That's like what this cover makes me feel like. I think also this is middle grade, by the way. Is this middle grade? Yeah, this is a middle grade book too, which is cool because I love the idea of introducing kids to horror at a age appropriate like level, and I love middle grade in general, but I've never read a middle grade horror before, so this will be really fun. So June's prompt is slasher, and I'm going to read There's No Way I'd Die First by Lisa Springer. Noelle Lane knows horror. Every trope, every warning sign, every survival tactic. She even leads a successful movie club dedicated to the genre. Thus, who better to throw the ultimate, most exclusive Halloween party on all of Long Island? And with the guest list including the coolest kid in her senior class, her popularity is bound to spike, hopefully enough to warrant an expansion into podcasting. Plus, the fact that the attractive singer-songwriter Archer Mitchell is coming is honestly the candy corn on top. Nothing is going to kill her party vibes, except maybe the low-budget it clown she hires to lead a classic round of tag. He's supposed to be terrifying, though in a comforting, nostalgic way. Instead, the guy is giving major creep vibes, but maybe Noelle's just that good at hosting? Her confidence is immediately rocked when the night's entertainment axes one of her guests. And he's not done yet. If an evil, murderous clown thinks life is a game, then Noelle is ready to play. She's been waiting a long time to prove that she's a final girl. This book, the way that it sounds, it reminds me of a combination of You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight and My Heart is a Chainsaw. And I loved both of those books. So I'm really excited for this one. It does sound like it might be a little bit more kitschy, a little bit more cheesy, but like on purpose. So I'm hoping this is just like a silly, goofy, fun, murderous time. The prompt for July is anthology / short stories. For this, I'm going to read We Came to Hurt Each Other by Paula D. Ashe, I think it's pronounced. This one just says, with these 12 stories, Paula D. Ashe takes you into a dark and bloody world where nothing is sacred and no one is safe. A landscape of urban decay and human degradation. This collection finds the psychotic pressure points of us all and giddily squeezes. Try to run, try to hide, but there is no escape. We are here to hurt each other. This has under 1,000 ratings on Goodreads, but it has a 4.02 average. And that just makes me think like maybe this is a hidden gem. Also, the cover on this one, so unsettling. The teeth on the skull, I don't like it. Like, I like it because it's a horror cover and it's supposed to be like scary, but I don't like it, you know? So the prompt for August is seasonal vibes, and I didn't know if we were supposed to pick like any season we wanted or if it was supposed to be like summer seasonal because August is like the peak summer month. But for this one, I chose Rootwork by Tracy Cross. This says, set in a small parish in Louisiana in 1889. Rootwork follows sisters Betty, Ann, and Pee-wee. When school lets out for the summer, the girls head off to stay with their hoodoo practicing aunt Theodora, an empowered woman equally feared and revered by the local townspeople. They learn how to make hot foot powder and the secrets of a good black cat bone. Need to get back at an enemy? A little goofer dust will help with that. The girls delight in their new hoodoo adventure until a tragic event strikes, involving the malicious town sheriff, transforming not only their lives but also the sisters themselves. A story of love, folk magic, redemption, and independence, Rootwork explores the strength of family and the darker side of the heart. I thought this sounded interesting because I've never read a book that features hoodoo before, and I also love that it's three sisters on like summer break and they go to their aunt's house and it's like this house that's just like filled with magic, and it kind of gave me like practical magic vibes, how it's like the two sisters live together with the one sister's like and her two kids or whatever. And so I was just like, oh my god, like I love the trope of a family that is passing down magic each generation. I'm excited for this one. The prompt for September is Witches, which I could have read Rootwork for, but ultimately decided to go with White is for Witching by Helen Oyeyemi. In a vast, mysterious house on the cliffs near Dover, the Silver family is reeling from the hole punched into its heart. Lily is gone, and her twins, Miranda and Elliot, and her husband, the gentle Luke, mourn her absence with unspoken intensity. All is not well with the house either, which creaks and grumbles and malignly confuses visitors in its mazy rooms, forcing winter apples in the garden when the branches should be bare. Generations of women inhabit its walls, and Miranda, with her new appetite for chalk and her keen sense for spirits, is more attuned to them than she is to her brother and father. She is leaving them slowly, slipping away from them. And when one dark night she vanishes entirely, the survivors are left to tell her story. Mary, I conjure you. This is a spine-tingling tale that has Gothic roots but an utterly modern sensibility. Told by a quartet of crystalline voices, it is electrifying in its expression of myth, memory, lost magic, fear, and love. The synopsis doesn't mention anything that is like specifically witchy except the line, Mary, I conjure you. And the fact that the title is White is for Witching. A few people have also tagged it as witches on Goodreads. So I'm just going to put my faith into those people. I think it was 48 people. So I hope they're right. And I hope the title is right, that there is some kind of witchy magic involved here. But other than that, like regardless, it sounds really good. It kind of sounds like the house like connects to people, like certain people who live there and like absorbs them. I don't know. This girl just disappeared. And I feel like something's up with the house. And maybe it's like, maybe there was like occult things that went on in the house that kind of cursed it. I hope it has something to do with the occult. I do get that vibe. So I'm excited for that one too. The prompt for October is Reader's Choice. And one that I've been wanting to read for quite a while is Ring Chart. I just said chart. And one that I've been wanting to read for quite a while is Ring Shout by P. Jelly Clark. In 1915, the birth of a nation cast a spell across America, swelling the clan's ranks and drinking deep from the darkest thoughts of white folk. All across the nation they ride, spreading fear and violence among the vulnerable. They plan to bring hell to earth, but even Ku Kluxes can die. Standing in their way is Maurice Boudreau and her fellow resistance fighters, a foul-mouthed sharpshooter and a Harlem hellfighter. Armed with blade, bullet, and bomb, they hunt their hunters and send the clan's demons straight to hell. But something awful's brewing in Macon, and the war on hell is about to heat up. Can Maurice stop the clan before it ends the world? So I'm an American, and I'm filming this approximately 9 days after the most recent presidential inauguration. So this book really is calling to me right now. I'm really wanting to see some Ku Klux Klan assholes eat shit and die. And I just hope this book gives me that. I feel like it will be cathartic in a way, but this is a novella that I've heard amazing things about, and I can't wait to get to it. November's prompt was Gothic. For this prompt, I've chosen to read The Ballad of Black Tom by Victor Laval. I believe that this is a retelling of an H.P. Lovecraft story. People move to New York looking for magic and nothing will convince them it isn't there. Charles Thomas Tester hustles to put food on the table, keep the roof over his father's head, from Harlem to Flushing Meadows to Red Hook. He knows what magic a suit can cast, the invisibility a guitar case can provide, and the curse written on his skin that attracts the eye of wealthy white folks and their cops. But when he delivers an occult tome to a reclusive sorceress in the heart of Queens, Tom opens a door to a deeper realm of magic and earns the attention of things best left sleeping. A storm that might swallow the world is building in Brooklyn. Will Black Tom live to see it break? This one is very, very popular. It is one that I have been hearing about for quite some time. I also think it won a Goodreads Choice Award back when it first came out, and I'm really excited to get to it. I'm a little nervous because I feel like this one is kind of like one of those ones that I have in my mind, like on a pedestal, where I'm like, I've heard such good things about this story that I'm like, what if I read it and I don't like it? But that's neither here nor there, because I'm sure I'm gonna read it and enjoy it. And last but not least, December's prompt is a 2025 release. I might end up changing this if I catch wind of any other Black horror releases that intrigue me more than what I have chosen here. But this one sounds amazing, and it does come out soon also. I believe it comes out on February 4th, which is in like 7 days from the time that I'm filming this. And this is called Listen to Your Sister by Nina Vielle. 25-year-old Calla Williams is struggling since becoming guardian to her brother Jamie. Calla is overwhelmed and tired of being the one who makes sacrifices to keep the family together. Jamie, full of good-natured 16-year-old recklessness, is usually off fighting for what matters to him or getting into mischief, often at the same time. Dre, their brother, promised he would help raise Jamie, but now the ink is dry on the paperwork and, in classic middle child fashion, he's off doing his own thing. And through it all, the nightmare never stops haunting Calla, recurring images of her brothers dying that she is powerless to stop. When Jamie's actions at a protest spiral out of control, the siblings must go on the run. Taking refuge in a remote cabin that looks like it belongs on a slasher movie poster rather than an Airbnb, the siblings now face a new threat where their lives and reality hang in the balance. Their sister always warned them about her nightmares, and they really should have listened. This sounds so intriguing. I love that they go from this very real, sad situation. You know, Calla has to care for her brother, her younger brother now, and his other brother who was supposed to help take care of him, who is aloof and not involved. And, you know, Calla is struggling with this guardianship and having to be the grown-up for her siblings and this nightmare that she's having. And it sounds like after they get to this cabin, whatever nightmares she's having, I feel like, I don't know if there's something supernatural at play, or if the horrors are more of a real life kind of thing, maybe people are after them because of them being on the run. I do feel like the synopsis doesn't give us too much of a glimpse into what the horror or scary aspect will be, but I think it leaves enough intrigue that I'm definitely still excited to read it. And I really like the cover for this one, the colors, the really stark colors in the middle, and then the silhouette of the trees and the cabin just in solid black. It definitely gives 80s horror slasher vibes on the cover. So I'm wondering if this will be more of a slasher, or if it will lean into a supernatural horror type of thing. Either way, I'm gonna find out. So those are the 12 books that I am going to read for the Black Horror Reading Challenge in 2025. Let me know if you've read any of these or if any of these sound appealing to you. I'm really excited. I think the one I'm most looking forward to is probably Ring Shout by P. Jelly Clark, but I'm also really antsy to get to Nana by Brandon Massey and The Ballad of Black Tom by Victor LaValle. And I've also heard really good things about I Feed Her to the Beast and the Beast is Me. And I also am just really excited because I love that it's gonna be like a dark, like ballet, and you know, she goes to the catacombs, whatever. And I really liked Black Swan when that came out, so I'm kind of wondering if it's gonna give me that same like, ooh, a dark, you know, like do anything at any cost kind of ballerina situation. And so that one's really exciting. If you've made it this far in the video, leave the knife emoji down in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.